pimping, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, Buggy like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. This is Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. This is Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that.
All right, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Round of applause for you guys, man. Big ups to you guys, man. Appreciate every last one of y'all for being in the stream. Do me a service and hit that damn like button, man. We up in this thing, man. The Saints schedule is out, as you can see on screen, man. We're going to go over the games. We're going to talk about all of the latest news and notes as the schedule release is official. The Saints schedule is out for the mighty Who Dat Nation. We knew who the opponents were. We just didn't know what the dates and times and things of that such. So big ups to each and every last one of you guys. Cartel, Pelicans, Nola, is Poppy 504, Mad Drummer, Young City 9, Michael. Shout out to you, Michael. Big ups to you. What's up, Said? Big ups to Said as well. Brother Duke is in this thing. Shout out to English. Big ups to you, brother Willie Cameron. Much love. What's up, BP? Shout out to you. Appreciate you for being in the live. Brother Keldrick is in this thing. What's up, Beverly? Shout out to Beverly. Larry, what's happening, my brother? How you doing, sir? OG Jerry. Shout out to the OG for being a member for almost a year. Much love to you, brother.
Very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right, shout out to you. What's up, Brian? Big ups to you. Much love. And fam, we're going to go over the schedule. Brother Brian says 6-2 is definitely possible. Okay, can we get 5 wins this year? That's the whole thing. That's what it comes down to. So we're going to go into it, man, and break it down and see what we got going on here. So big ups to everybody involved. So yes, we are here. What's up, brother Hakeem? Shout out to my dog Hakeem. Big ups to you, brother. Hope everything going well out there. Much love to you, my friend. L Dub, shout out to you as well. Good to see you in the chat as well. All right, brother, a God of Fire. He said, did you see the Saints schedule video they posted? It's fire. I was watching some of it, man. It is nice. They did a good job on the production of that, man. Much love on that as well. Thank you, God of Fire. Vibing with the Johnsons. Big ups to you. He says floor is 6, ceiling is about how many? He says floor is 6, ceiling is 8. Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see. But let's get right into it. What's up, Big Velly? Shout out to you as well. Good to see you, man. We up in this thing as well. But this is the Saints schedule release. We'll get right into it, family, to drop the science on the schedule. It's out. So you see they got old man Cam sitting on top of that thing, looking super old and ancient. But the schedule is not ancient. It just released for the Saints this upcoming season. They start off with a home game, a couple of home games to start off the season. Week 1, September the 7th, They're going to be in the dome for the Arizona Cardinals coming in here. And of course, we know that the Arizona Cardinals would just go down the perception of what games could be won moving forward. But the first week, September the 7th, a noon matchup against the Arizona Cardinals in the dome. That'll be interesting. Week 2, we got the San Francisco 49ers. There'll be also a noon game in the Superdome. We'll take on the Niners there. Then the Saints get their first away game. And like we talked about, where some of these teams, where are they positioned? Because they got a couple of teams that are up in the northern part of the country, and depending on the time frame, you might have to deal with a little snow and cold weather. But the schedule appears to be favorable. Week 3, September the 21st at 3. This is an afternoon game in in Seattle, in a very difficult stadium to play. This is a different team. This is not Pete Carroll-led team. New coaches up there, so the Seattle still a difficult place to play. It'll be a 3:05 kickoff time for the Saints in Seattle. Then they go to Buffalo. This is going to be a really tough game. I favor the matchup because I like the fact that it's early in the year, week 4, a month worth of games in, and we travel to Buffalo to take on a very difficult Buffalo Bill team. That'll be interesting. That'll be week 4. Week 5, we come home for 2 games. We'll play the Giants October the 5th at noon. Then week 6, we'll play the New England Patriots October the 12th at 3:25 p.m. So there you go with that. And then we go back we come back home for the week 7 matchup against the Chicago Bears. That's October the 9th noon matchup back in the dome, as you can see there. Then after that, as we get to the 8th game of the season, we'll travel to Tampa Bay and we'll get into our first of the year, our divisional matchups, NFC South games. We start the first matchup. We'll be going to Tampa Bay, who's won the NFC. It pains me to say this, but they've won the NFC South 4 times in a row. And it's just unacceptable for us to keep allowing that to happen. We can't let it be 5 straight. Shout out to Big Game James and his squad. And then the Saints come home for 2. They'll have the Rams in the dome. It's a 3:05 game at week number 9. Then we get our second matchup against in the NFC South, this time home against Carolina as they coming into the dome. We'll have that November 9th. That's a noon game. And then the Saints get a little rest. They hit the bye week. Now, I like how the bye week is positioned because it's perfectly positioned right where we needed to be in the middle of the season. It's not too early. It's not too late. The bye week is positioned perfectly in the middle of the season, almost dead smack where it needs to be. So we rest in week 11. Then after that, we go to Atlanta to battle, away game. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. Home game against Tampa Bay, week 8, October the 26th, and then 2 away games with the Rams, November the 2nd at 3:05, November the 9th noon game with Carolina, and then a bye week. And then at home, first matchup against the stinking Falcons on November the 23rd is a 3:25 game, 3:25 on week 12 at home. Then we go away twice to Miami, November the 30th, the noon game for week 13. We will then finish out these regular season series with Tampa Bay, week 14. And that'll be December the 7th in noon. And then we come home for the matchup against the Carolina Panthers and the Jets. So we have both of those guys at home, week 15. That's a 3:25 game. And then the Jets matchup of week 16, December the 21st at noon, will be in the dome. And then we finish the season going on the road against the Tennessee Titans and the Atlanta Falcons in their building. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays here. So the away games, Seattle, Buffalo, Chicago, LA, Carolina, Miami, Tampa Bay again, and then Tennessee and Atlanta. The very interesting because the cold games, we don't have to deal too much with cold. December the 28th, a couple of days after the Tennessee Titans game, we'll be going to their building. I think they got to open their stadium, so we have to deal with that. But outside of that, the cold games do not affect the Saints. This is a positive. So positives here. Let's kind of look at the positives here for this schedule right now. The away games, you know, in terms of the cold games, the Buffalo game is the 4th game of the season. That'll be away in Buffalo. That's interesting to go. So we don't have to worry about that. And then the only other cold game or cold team we have to worry about is the Titans. And we'll see how that looks as we go to their building 3 days after Christmas. The Jets are a team that'll be in the Saints Dome, so that's pretty cool. So this schedule is very favorable. Starting against Arizona, San Francisco, who didn't do too well last year, they have downsized a few things. How do San Fran look in the new year? We'll have to pay attention to that. Seattle's not the juggernaut they've been known to be. I ain't gonna use the term juggernaut, but they've been a lot more consistent. They under new management there. How do they look? Buffalo is a contender, so we know they're going to be a difficult matchup. That's going to be a very interesting game, but like I said, it's early in the year, no cold game. Week 4, that's a plus. The home game against both, we have both New York teams in the Dome, so we have to deal with the pathetic cold of going up to New York and playing in that building. We have both New York teams in the Superdome, so we don't have to worry about that. The Giants and the Jets are teams looking to improve. The Patriots are a team looking to improve. Chicago, we're thinking on the road early. It's cool. That's a cold game, but it's going to be early on. We're not expecting to be snow and all that kind of stuff in week number 7. And, of course, we see the Rams, who took a step back. We'll see what they're looking like. The divisional games fall pretty good because you really don't get into your first divisional matchup until week number 8. When we take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Dome. So that's pretty cool there. And then, of course, we got a couple of away games going to L.A. We always kind of play difficult games out there in L.A. We'll see what they're looking like. The first matchup with Carolina is on the road. The bye week is positioned perfectly between the Carolina and the Atlanta Falcon matchup as we come back from Carolina to go to the Falcons. To come home from to get ready for the Falcons in week number 12. So these games, a lot of these teams, Arizona, San Francisco, the Dolphins, a lot of these teams struggle. The Jets, some of these teams are under new management. The Titans, these teams are a lot of difficult looking teams looking to trying to get back into where they used to be. Very interesting schedule, I must say. Fam, you have some teams on here, and we don't know what it all looks like. We'll see what some of these teams, what they look like pushing forward. But, man, listen. The Saints build the offensive line correctly, and the defense comes to play, and they cut the dumb football down and control the turnovers and play with some intelligence and aggression. Man, they can get some games. I'm not predicting a 10-game situation because I don't know what this team looks like. Philosophy-wise, I can kind of capitulate it, but in terms of them putting it all together, we'll just have to see. But there's a lot of these teams are teams that's struggling to get somewhere. You see some contenders up there, the teams that'll be really difficult, like a Buffalo. We know Tampa Bay is going to bring it. We know the Falcons bring it against us. We know Carolina is going to be much improved. But the Giants, the Jets, and we knew this was going to be on the schedule, but I'm saying and how they have it laid out, very favorable for the Saints. But it just seems like I've said this before. If I go back in the last 2 or 3 years, I'm pretty sure we said something like this before. We had a menacing evil possum as a coach lying and doing all kind of snake shit. We had him there. So I remember saying, hey, man, we got to repeat this. All we have to do, we'll see. But it does look very favorable for the Saints, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, I'm just dropping a little science on that. But y'all know what I mean, man. You got to be careful. All right, shout out to the fam listening, man. Big ups to the ladies out there, the kings and queens of the Comas. Much love to all y'all. I'm going to get y'all commentary momentarily on the chat. We'll talk about it. But, yeah, we'll talk about breaking down how many wins we perceive this is, and this is surely a guess. But shout out to Serenity, Sanaya, and Lil San listening to the broadcast. Shout out to the great kids out there listening. Shout out to Deborah. Shout out to Donna. Shout out to Diamond. Shout out to the queens and kings of the Coma, checking us out. Much love. Thank y'all for y'all support as well. This is very interesting, to be honest with you, man. This whole damn schedule. I'm just going to be honest with you. Somebody said 6 wins is the floor, 8 is the ceiling. The Saints finished, what was it, 5-12 last year? But this schedule, man, listen, boy, I tell you, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, or second year quarterback, a shifting 43 defense to a 34 unit, and you get hit with this as a schedule, man, listen, man. I don't want to jinx it, man. I really don't. But you're looking at them like, man, and you don't want to judge. I don't want to get caught up in the trap of judging these other teams from last. Like Arizona's a team that's just not been very good as of late. The 49ers struggled mightily last year. Seattle, it's another dude there. So I'm anticipating them being different. Buffalo's a contender, no doubt about it. The Giants with Brian DeBall made a lot of moves. They brought in Russell Wilson. Is that enough to turn the table? They have a lot of talent up there. They're still seen as a bit of a bottom feeder. Both organizations from New York are seen as the Giants and Jets, even though the Jets have Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields. They've added some pieces. We expect them to play better. Both teams to play better. Let me see. The other information perceiving, let's go on. Hold on, fam. All right, the other information dealing with the Patriots. The Patriots that's a total winnable game. I know Vrabel's the new head coach, but a lot of these teams are teams that's, at the bottom of the NFL trying to climb. So we'll see exactly how it is, man. We'll see how that plays. We'll see what it is, and we'll just jump right into it and see what the call is. But you open the season against the Arizona Cardinals. Y'all keep my win total as I go over it. All right, we're going to do the projection right now. We're going to do. What's up, Joe? Shout out to you as well. Big Sean said our toughest opponents in our division, he says, are in our division. I said we split with all our division opponents. Okay. Brandon, unfortunately, will be playing with house money this year. Yes, sir. All right. What's up, DJ? Shout out to DJ, man. Appreciate you, man, as well, for being in the stream. Shout out to Michael. Michael says, I'm pumped for the new rebuild. Let's stop the negative today and let's cheer on. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
That seems favorable, Michael. I don't know who talking negative in the. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I don't know who talking negative in the chat, but they're on their game. Shout out to T Dirty, man. T Dirty sent me the gear, man. Y'all see it? It's to show me. Show me. That's the T Dirty. That's why. Shout out to T Dirty, man. Yeah, she T Dirty sent me that show me gear, man. I thought it was that'll be a good thing to play. A show for the family members. All right, vibing with the Johnsons. What's up, bro? Says no cold weather games is a plus. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right, thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for that. But listen, man, listen. The Saints are on the correct road. Like, let's just say that. We're like the biggest incomparance that I could say about the Saints heading into the. We can throw Mickey Loomis and know how stupid he is, but outside of that, the Derek Carr thing has been solved. The man retired, so that's out of the way. So there aren't any encumbrances to the Saints having success. They have a young offense at the quarterback position that has to find a way. They are making a commitment to have young guys there, and the reality is, if you have Tyler's there, he's going to be 26 in the fall. He's of an advanced age for a quarterback in today's NFL. They want to give him an opportunity to see if he can get in there and do his thing. If he's not ready to go, Spencer Rattler will be ready to go. Spencer Rattler will challenge him, and if he wins that competition against Spencer, I would be not, I would be impressed because I do like Spencer Rattler, but I think those two guys will compete well against each other. But we're headed in the correct direction. We still have a lot of very talented players on this team that can really help us. We talking about Elvin, he's turns 30 this year. We have Kendre Miller. We have to see what Kendre can do. We still have other guys there as well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire that can help. Devin Neal, the fantastic rookie from Kansas. Chris Olave will be healthy. Rashid Shaheed will be healthy. We did bring in some more people. We'll see what they can do in terms of that. We know that Donovan was a guy that they added as well. We'll cover that in a little bit with some of the roster moves with them picking up Van Peebles. But what's really interesting outside of that's the fact that this schedule, man, let me tell you something, man. I'm really looking at this and I'm saying to myself, man, the Saints, man, they should be able to do something with this. If you can run the football and play defense, and we have some talent, if they can just be smart about it, there could be some success had here. And case in point, let's get into it. If you look at where the hell is it? There it is. If you look at the first week, they should be able to beat the Arizona Cardinals. No disrespect to Arizona. Number one, this is going to be a home game for the Saints against a team that you couldn't have picked a better opponent to match up against the Saints in the first week of the season. I mean, you really couldn't. The Arizona Cardinals, now they do have some good players there. We know Murray is still there. We'll see if he's healthy to go. He's a problem. He will test the Saints defense to see how fast we've gotten because this is a quarterback that likes to move around and throw. How good is our defense laterally? They did pick up some people. They did change the scheme fit. It'll be interesting to see how it's used against this Arizona quarterback. But this game should be a win for the Saints. It really should. Against Arizona against the Cardinals in the Dome in week 1, this should be a win for the Saints out the gate. Number one, it should be. I'm saying it should be, not saying that it will, but I'll call it. It's a win. All right. So my damn piece paper. Hold on. Let me keep count of this stuff here because I'll be blabbing and talking and be forgetting what I'm saying on my schedule prediction. So hold on, fam. Give me a piece of paper here. There's something to write down here on my desk. I cleaned the hell out this desk. All right, here we go. All right, so week number 1 here. I'm going to scribble it down so y'all. I did this last year. I said, hey, y'all count this, and people screwed it all up. I said, I got to do it myself. All right, so the first one, I got week 1, a win up against the Cardinals. I got to give it to them. I think that's a win. You open up the series with a win. In week 2, the San Francisco 49ers come to town. This is not the same 49er team. They did trade some key people. Brock Purdy is a guy that's running the team. They did have some transition. They got rid of some players. But the 49ers wasn't that good last year. They were dealing with a lot. Are they going to be good this year? Are the Saints going to be able to pick up and get a W in the building against the 49ers here with Kittles and all these other guys there? Could the Saints get a win against the 49ers? In week number 2, I'm going to have to say no. I'm going to have to give them a loss on that one. I think the 49ers, it's a close game. We'll see how it go. I think the Saints might lose that game, right? Let's say that. Week number 3 against the Seattle Sea Chickens, all right? The Seattle Sea Chickens, although they have a new head coach over there. I think looking at it, man, I'm going to have to say the Saints should be able to beat Arizona. Now, this would be the first away game. They'll go up there, and we know they call it the 12th man and all that type of stuff. But things have changed. It's not the same offense. Same head coach running it. We'll be going up against a different guy up there. I want to say, is it the same guy there? We'll see what's going on up. They have some change. They changed the offensive line up, I want to say, fam. Then they changed up the offensive look. So you have the whole unit that used to be down here that's up there now, which means Clint Kubiak, Andrew Janoku, the offensive line coaches up there, the same staff that was down here, they're up there now, running their offense for Seattle. And they got a new quarterback there. They got a few pieces. They got some talent up there. Everything's different. I'm going to get out to the Saints. I say the Saints get their first road win of the season. They end up beating the Seattle Sea Chickens. All right, then they have Buffalo. They go to Buffalo. It's a noon game in Bill Country. I'm going to have to give that a loss right there. I'm going to have to say that a loss. Buffalo is probably on the Saints schedule, probably the most difficult team that we have that's outside of our divisional rivals. Buffalo's been a tough team over the last several years. They really play well. They're physical. I'm going to have to say that's a loss. So right now I'm sitting up here at 2-2 right now. Week number 5 against the Giants. They got some talent up there. Russell Wilson's going to be trying to lead the day with them. They got a phenomenal wide receiver and Malik Neighbors. They did add some weapons around them. They improved the offensive line, add some people to the defense. I say the Saints beat this team in the Superdome. After coming back from Buffalo, the Saints get the win against the Giants. The Patriots are up next. Now, the Patriots, with a quarterback, and they changed it to Mike Vrabel. He's trying to institute some stuff. They still have a lot going on as well. I'm going to give that to the Saints. I think the Saints beat the Patriots. I think both the Giants and Patriots are winnable games for the Saints in the Superdome. I currently stand at 4-2 right now. I'm at 4-2 right now. All right, let's move on to week number 7, the Chicago Bear matchup on the road in Chi-Town. And this is one of them 50-50 games. He can go either way. I think Buffalo will be much improved. Remember, Coach Johnson is over there now, so he'll be running the team. He's the former offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. He's in Chi-Town. He had a solid draft, had some really good acquisitions in free agency to build up the offense. The defense was all right, and they added some pieces to it. This is going to be an interesting matchup away in Chicago. And that's one of these 50-50 games, man, where you can go either way on that one. And I'm going to say the Saints get the win there. I'm going to say the Saints beat Chicago right there. Right now, according to Q here, we're sitting up here at 5-2. We're 5-2 going into week number 8, our first divisional matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's in the Superdome. This is going to be interesting. It's a afternoon game. In the first divisional game, I say we're going more than likely, I think that's a loss for us. I think we split. I'm going to just say it straight up. We split with Tampa Bay. Again, I don't know if I would love to say we sweep one of these teams. I would love to say we sweep Atlanta, but I think a lot of these teams are much improved. I think we are more than likely probably end up splitting with each one of these divisional rivals. So whether it's home or away, just know that it's a split. I think it'll split. And if any team I think that I want to see us sweep, of course, it's the Falcons, right? Of course, it's them. But realistically, I probably say it'll end up being a split on all these games. That's what I think. All right, so that's the first loss of this. And, of course, later on we'll get the win. The Rams matchup will be away. Every time we go up to L.A., it's always something. Some kind of difficulty we have up there beating L.A. and having difficulty getting a win in Los Angeles. Some weird stuff happened with some calling every now and again in the matchup. The Rams are kind of an enigma right there for me. After losing to the Buccaneers at home, I think the Saints pull it together and they get a win in the 9th week. Then we have an away game against the Carolina Panthers. I think we ultimately will lose the game. Like I said, we'll split with each one of our divisional rivals, however you pick it, whether it's home or away. Away more than likely a loss versus home, right? And then, of course, we hit the bye week. The bye week is the bye week. We'll have that going on. We'll get an opportunity to rest. And then we'll come out with a home game against Atlanta, freshly made, and we'll beat the Falcons in week number 12, right? We'll beat the Falcons. And then, of course, we go on to week number 13. We have the Miami Dolphins, the Dolphins are up and down team, man. They didn't look like all that last year. In some games, they looked at like gangbusters with McDaniels. There was rumors about him getting fired. The year before, they were just lighting it on fire. They're an up and down ass team. This will be an away game going to Miami. And I do think it'll be one of those situations where, I don't know. I think we'll probably, it's a 50-50 game. I think the Saints are better than Miami, man. I think the Saints will get the win there. We'll get it. All right, at number 14, week 14 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like I said, I think we lost. I think I picked us. We lost the first one. We'll win that one. So that's 3 straight right there. 15, week 15, December the 14th, afternoon matchup against the Carolina Panthers. Back in week 10, I said we'll get the loss there. We'll beat them. So that's 4 straight for the Saints. Week 16, that's the Jets coming aboard. December the 21st, noontime tip-off in kickoff rather, in the Superdome against the Jet Club led by the likes of Aaron Glenn. I like what Aaron Glenn's doing. I think Aaron Glenn's Jets will get a victory there. I think they'll be a lot better than we think. This ain't the sad, pathetic-ass Jets. I think he'll actually have them doing something later in the year. The Week 17 matchup against the Tennessee Titans with Cam Ward there. I think the Saints get that victory against Cam Ward and his head coach, who took over I forgot the man running the team right there, but I think it'll be exciting, but I think the Saints have enough to beat Cam Ward in Week 17. And Week 18 is against the Falcons, and we'll go into their building. I think that'll be a loss. Like I said, we'll split with them. So that's all of the matchups right there. And like I said, man, I'm going to go back and look at some of these teams and do some more research on some of these other teams because I know some better than others. But in terms of what I was able to gather in my little schedule making right here, let me count the wins and the losses. Week 1, win. Week 3, win. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? I got 11 wins. Get the hell out of here. 11 wins for the Saints. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 11 and 6. Is that right? Let me make sure I did that right. Let me count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. 11 and 6. All right. I got them 11. Now that surprised the hell out of me. But see, when you look at the schedule and how the schedule is put together, it really don't surprise you at all because this is really put together pretty easily for the Saints. None of these opponents that we're seeing as outside of our division is scaring the hell out of us, right? Not to say that we're scared of anybody, but you can make you can make a call on the 49ers game. You really could. So you could flip a few of these games. A few people can debate on some of these games, but you can flip them. But if you look at the schedule, and if the Saints do what they just do the minimal, like run the ball and protect the quarterback, of course, we know there'll be a few games where they lose. That's why I gave them a loss against the 49ers. That's why I got them split with all our divisional rivals. But very well, they can end up sweeping the Falcons, depending on how they galvanize and how they pull it together. But you can't disrespect Tampa Bay. That's 4-time champions. I see them splitting with them. Carolina was a team that showed that they ain't no pussycats, so to speak. And then you look at the Falcons, who much improved. It's going to be difficult in the NFC South. It's not going to be a cakewalk. So I anticipate us winning those games. You could say that the Saints, let me see, where was I? In week number 9, I have them beating the Rams. In week number 13, I got them beating the Dolphins. The Jets was with the Jets, I gave them a loss to the Jets because, a couple of these games, you got to give the Saints a couple of games where they don't have their head screwed on straight. Sometimes they'll come there and then some of them games, they just don't be in it. There'll be a game or two here or there. It happens every season where the Saints don't come to play. It just happens. They'll be distracted on something and just the overall energy of the team is not there. So a couple of those games per year, I look at the week 17 matchup against the Titans and Cam Ward. A lot of people could say Cam Ward might be difficult for the Saints. You might flip that one. But this is what I got. 11 and 6 is what I got, fam, on the season. That surprised the hell out of me because I really didn't pick the Saints winning more than possibly like maybe 6-7 games. But the schedule is so agreeable. The schedule, take a look at the schedule again, fam, for my toughest people. The schedule is so agreeable. It's ridiculous. It's so agreeable. It's so agreeable. Look at this schedule. Yeah. Brother Hakeem says, I don't know, Q. He says, but I agree the schedule works out well if we had a good QB. Yeah, what do we have? What's up, Gerard? How you doing, brother? What do we have? I mean, Smoke, what's up, Smoke? Smoke says, I see 7-10. Yeah, Bad Drummer said the Bears game will be interesting, man. They got that new coach up there, and that guy was the guy that was running Detroit's offense. So I don't expect the Bears to be a team that's just like, that be pushovers. And I said it at the top, I said it's a 50-50 matchup for me because that Bears game is going to be off the chain, man. I said we have to go there. That could be flipped to a loss. That was one of probably the most difficult game I had to judge was the Chicago Bears game, in which I had the Saints winning in week 7. But you can easily flip that, and the Saints could be 10-7. They can easily be 10-7 based on that game. But that was a 50-50 game as far as I'm concerned. Of course, you're saying 5-12, Lo. Of course, you're gonna say that, Lo. 5-12. That's what we were last year. We're not gonna be 5-12 again, Lo. You get that straight, brother. We're not gonna be 5-12 again. Hell, we like I said, we're gonna see, man. It's gonna be fun and interesting. But the question is, the schedule gods have blessed the Saint Nation with a very, very agreeable schedule. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better opponent to match the Saints up with in week 1 but the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, a team that can't get out of their own way, and it's a home game. Hell, they can end up beating the 49ers. I got the Saints losing for the 49ers, but they can end up beating the 49ers in week 2. That's a home game for the black and gold. So, like I said, a lot of these look how it's constructed. You got the Giants, the Patriots, the Cardinals, and kind of an enigma team in the 49ers there. Seattle, we don't quite know what Seattle is. We know Geno Smith's not there. They got the guy from Minnesota as their new quarterback, and Clint Kubiak and them running the offense up there. So how much of that you give? I think in week 3 I gave the Saints a win on that. We already know what Clint Kubiak gonna do. He gonna abuse and overuse his players. He don't know shit. And of course, the week 4 matchup against the Buffalo Bills is the most difficult matchup of the first 8 games. Buffalo will be interesting. If the Saints beat Buffalo, that'll be like okay. But that's a lot to ask for, though. And, of course, matchups with the Giants and Patriots, 2 teams still trying to figure it out. The Bears matchup is a 50-50 matchup because, like I said, he got a really good head coach up there. We'll see what he can do working with him. And it's going to be interesting. And then you kind of go into the home games and how many home games the Saints play. They have before the bye week, it's a good mix of home games. They don't get ran down too bad. The 2 away games with the Rams and the Panthers before they hit the bye week. The bye week is positioned perfectly, right where you need it to be. It's not too early. It's right where you need it to be. It's week 11. And it's positioned before we go up there and beat the feathers off the Falcons, right? Before we beat them Falcons, if they rising up the season, I doubt they'll have 4 or 5 wins before they match up with them. What'd you say there, Lo? How many wins y'all got? What's your record look like when y'all coming off of week 11 and getting ready for week 12? What your record is, Lo? You want to give us a quick preview on that? The first matchup against the Falcons in week number 12. What's your record looking like there, Lo? We're gonna beat the feathers off them people. We're gonna make feather dusters out of them people. The only problem is when you knock them around, the feathers are everywhere. Nobody wants to buy them old Falcon feathers. They ain't worth nothing. So you gotta throw a lot of it away. Nobody want them. They don't feather dusters. You make feather dusters out of them damn people, man. That's the crazy part. When you smack them around, you just shit everywhere. Feathers flying everywhere. It's just a mess. You try vacuuming up Falcon fellas. All right, but anyway, man, like I said, matchups at Miami. Miami's an enigma too because like you don't know what you're getting with the Dolphins. You know, they're kind of a crazy team, but I think the Saints have enough to beat them. Uh, and like I said, splitting with all of these other teams in the NFC South is basically what I see. I think the Saints can beat the Titans later on in the year. There aren't any cold games. So the fact that you get a week one matchup like a preseason game against Arizona, the bye week is positioned perfectly. The cold teams are right where you need them to be. Buffalo is week number 4. Teams like the Jets and Giants and Patriots are usually cold games, but they are in the dome, so you don't have to worry about that. And only one you have, the cold game, I guess, will be the December 28th matchup when you go to Tennessee to take on the Titans, right? But outside of that, man, listen, there aren't any cold games on here to talk nastily about, you know? And the last game of the season is at Falcons to be announced when they figure out what day that's going to be in time for the Week 18 matchup. We close the season out with the Falcons. So what do you guys call it? Put it in the chat. Do me 2 services. Hit the like button. Hit the sub button if you're not a sub up, and also put the prediction in there. Put in the prediction there. Let me know what you guys think it is. Now I know there's and also along with your schedule or your schedule number predictions, whether you're 7-9, whatever the case may be, or you like me saying, okay, 11-6 or 10-7, because it's somewhere between that with me. It's 11-6 and 10-7 because you can flip flop a few of these games, right? Depending. But what are your predictions with your schedule and why you feel like that is the correct thing? If you're picking 7 games, what is your main reason for picking 7 games or 5 games or 6 games? What's the main reason? Why do you think the Saints won't progress here in terms of, do you not believe in or do not have faith in the quarterback situation? Do you think that the quarterback position will hamstring us from winning no more than 5 or 6 games this season or 7 games? Or do you not believe in the defense, or do you not think the Saints defense will be a really good unit? How do you feel about the offensive line? Do you think we have enough to compete and be solid? You know, because there are concerns, and those concerns feed into why you think that situation will be that. And like I said, the schedule, this comes with me looking at the Saints team and understanding what should be done moving forward, knowing that the possum is gone. So some higher degree of coaching has to prevail in what's going on with the team as you bring in Kellen Moore. Now, Kellen Moore's a rookie head coach. You're going to have a rookie quarterback or a second-year quarterback, depending. There's a lot of young pieces there, but there are also a lot of veteran pieces there as well. You know, there's a lot of change and all this kind of stuff. So I can understand there is no judging your prediction here. So please put it in the chat of what you think it should be. All right. All right. Big ups to you guys. Thank y'all. Yeah, vibing. You're right. No cold weather games. What's up, Kathleen? Shout out to Kathleen. Good to see you. All right. Gerard said we're going to sweep them old Falcons no matter what. Rise up to fall down. That's right. That's the part. They tell you one side of the logo, but they forget to tell you the rest of it. They talking about they rising up to fall down. That's what they do all the time. They get to tripping over their own feathery falcon feet. You know, they do that all the time. What's up, Who Dat Daddy? Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to you. What's up, Cameron? All right. The Cameron said Dolphins ain't good without Tua. Yeah, this is true. We'll see. I think they're an enigma, but I think I got the Saints down beating them. Brother Hakeem said this Penix first year starting too, so they got their challenges too. Tampa Bay is still better than Atlanta. Thank you, Brother Hakeem. What's your prediction on that, Hakeem? Put it in the chat, bro. I think I missed yours. What's up, Brother Bishop? Bishop One Love in the building. He's saying Bobbin says 6, floor 6, ceiling is 9. Now it was 8. Okay. All right. Young City says 12-4. All right. Pelicans. Nola says 11-6. Let's go. I mean, man, what could you ask for here? There's a lot of teams on here. They're struggling teams trying to figure it out. And I guess you can throw the Saints amongst them, but the only thing is our struggling worse than they're struggling? Can we capitalize with wins on teams like Arizona, teams like San Fran, Seattle, Miami, Los Angeles, Rams? I mean, yeah, with the Rams, Jets, Titans, a lot of these teams were teams that were picking in the top 10, along with our asses. So, I mean, is their struggle worse than our struggle? Who that daddy says, I disagree, Q. Them Falcons got the mange. They don't have. That sounds terrible, bro, but very true and funny. All right, Nat says surprise, 10-7. All right, thank you, Nat. I could say that, bro. Looking at the schedule, I'm kind of in between 10-7, 11-6, somewhere in there. But it's hard to see the Saints. They have to be really out of it to not capitalize on this schedule. I mean, it's unbelievable. Brandon says the Saints, Titans, and Browns are the only teams without a primetime game this year. Indeed, I know, bro. But the reality, a lot of people don't think they're going to be that good. That's the thing. But things change very well. Bev says 10-7. Thank you, Beverly. All right. Brother Hoffa says we have a chance to win 9 or 10 games. This is the easiest schedule we ever had. I don't know if it's the easiest we've ever had, but this schedule is very winnable. Like I said, opening up against Arizona, San Francisco is lost some good people. They weren't very good last year, but you don't expect a team as good as the 49ers, as well as they've played overtime to remain in that state. You want to see them be competitive, and they'll probably get back to being competitive. But another thing is you catch them in week number 2, which means, people are still trying to figure it out, and usually takes 2 to 4 games to fully understand exactly what you got going on. We say this every year. Within that span of time, Seattle and Buffalo is there. And then, that's the first month of games. So you get Buffalo right at a month worth of games. So whatever you're trying to do, you should have it mentally, caught in here, so to speak, And of course, the next 4 games against the Giants, the Patriots, what you got going in Chicago against the Bears, and then Tampa Bay at home. Going to be interesting, man. We'll see. Gerard says, did we get a new training staff? That's the big nod. No. Good question, bro. Great question. No, we did not. There is no news that the Saints hired any new people or a new health staff because they're still using optional sports medicine and their side of it. So no, they haven't. No. They're still going through that. So, like I said, if you can't be serious about winning if you keep using excuses like injuries and not doing a thorough investigation on these people who you hired to handle the health for your team, and both the teams that you own are suffering from injuries, and you're not looking at that. Maybe you're not looking at it because the president of your team is a member on their damn board. Boy, they don't hide these connections, do they? Maybe Dennis Lausch is sitting up on that board over there. He's a director on them people's board. And he's supposed to be the president of the Saints team. How you sharing both of them? And see, that's what make it interesting. See, when we talk about that aspect of it, when you talk about the health staff, why don't they rip away? This goddamn guy sitting up as a board member on a hospital system. Dennis Lausch is. So it's like they have this weird pairing where, okay, all of the fire us, it'll look crazy because you got the guy that's on the team is our director. It's one of our board of directors. You see what I'm saying? You see how they tied in together? But do he look at it and say, hey, man, we need to do something about this or this, that, and the third. Or we need to do better. There is no type of information saying that they're doing that at all. So it's just better for them just to pretend like that doesn't exist and just keep blaming the invisible injury monster for everything. You see the connections? They don't try to hide them. All right, Matt Drummer says we're going with Tyler up the NFL this year. We're gonna shuck up the. We're gonna spook everybody and concerned about our DBs and wide receiver group. That's why I say 8-9, but 12-5 if Tyler comes out firing. Okay, thank you. Might what if it ain't Tyler? What if it's Spencer? I'm saying, listen, it's a competition, right? Brandon says we have nothing to lose. If he plays good and then the team stays healthy, we probably could get 10 to 11 wins. For real, man, this is very interesting. Hakeem said, that's my point, Q. It's literally our QB situation. We have the skill position players. We need to bring in a vet like Jameis or maybe trade for Pickett, who was with Coach Moore in Philly. All right, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. And there's nothing wrong with that, bro. I respect that. Young City says 12-5. Who That Daddy says, I say 11-6 because we have the second easiest schedule in the league. Sometimes it don't always equal out to success, bro. Sometimes it doesn't. I see it like you see it, though. Willie says 11-6. Giovanni says 10-7. Kai the Great says, my prediction, one game at a time, but we will sweep and deep fry those damn Falcons. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Ray says the press conference day was comical. You should react. I'm thinking 8 wins. I see us losing 5 games at the beginning. Okay. All right. 5 games. Well, yeah. Hey, I heard a little bit of that. Relly says 10-7. Smoke says, I heard hard to judge the team because don't know what to expect from the QB. Vegas has 6.5 wins. Yeah, 6.5, 7 wins. All right. Hakeem says, I think the ceiling is 7. Floor is the ceiling is 7 and 4 for me. And it's because he said floor? It's because we're breaking in a rookie QB this year with a rookie head coach. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm prepping for this rebuild. That's what we need. Thank you, brother Hakeem. Brandon says 10-7 or 11-6. Okay. What's up, Devon? Shout out to your brother. Brandon Reese says we get 3 home games in October. Can we capitalize? DJ, State of the Pelican, says can't wait till round table, LOL. I see us going 11-4. We just did the round table, man, so we ain't due for one in a while, but we'll see how it goes. All right, Jack says, am I dyslexic with these predictions? 7-10 injuries become a problem. No, you're not, bro. You living in Groundhog Day. And see, that's the thing we talk about. Like, you look at the team, and yes, Hakeem is right. You have a rookie head coach. We have a rookie quarterback, and that's big. That's big. Because even though you do have the talent, they still have to figure out how to use the talent in the perceived way that they want to use them, in their system. They still have to, accumulate all these guys and put them into the system successfully. Then also have to deal with side effects, like maybe player personalities not clashing, stuff like that, or behind the scenes type stuff. And the fact that the injury situation, which, like I said, that they haven't done anything to address the injury situation. They're just going to pretend like it doesn't exist until it needs to exist so they can blame stuff on it. Did you catch that? It's the same thing every year. All you have to do is have a memory. It's the same damn thing. Every year we look at the team and say, man, the Saints have enough talent. We should be able to do this, that, and the third. And sometimes it don't turn out that way. But sometimes it does. But can Kellen Moore get this Saint team to win more than 8 games this year? With this schedule, we'll see. All right. Mad Drummer says either it's going to be the Tyler or Rattler. All right. Okay, I hear you, Montreal, man. You said I'm trying to see what game I'm going to go to this year. Okay. What's up, T. Roy? He says I just can't call it. Yeah, you was like me, bro, doing the round table. I had to wait to see the schedule, among other things. I knew Derek Carr wasn't going to play this year. But the thing was, how does the QB play looks? What happens here? I wanted to see more with the offensive line. I do like Kevin Joseph Jr. being made, the move being made, and they tried him at different positions to see where he fits at. You do have Dylan Runnets, who's here as a veteran. The guy's not like a past dude. He's still a quality guy that can come in and start for you. You compete with Nick Saldiveri. So you have competition at the left guard spot. So there's no need for you to kind of force a fit like if you take Kevin Joseph and put him at the left guard position and allow Trevor Penning to play the tackle position. I simply say I would go into the mindset right now with the new situation that you're bringing in, flip-flop the line, change the line up. Because the line last year, didn't really do anything worth note except for the first 2 games of the season. Maybe the third game when we lost. We should have beat the Eagles in that game. But when McCoy went down and then they had to go and find the guy off the practice squad, they shift the offensive line. It was just a chaotic piece of mess. And then later on in the year, I think week number 9 or so, when they got some of the guys back, McCoy came back and Lucas Patrick came back, and they finally had all 5 of the starting lineup together, and they played together like 3 games before they got hurt again or something like that. It still didn't look good. Like, yeah, because the mindset was gone. Like, the imagination was gone. It just was not the same. The NFL took whatever the Saints was doing in those first 2 weeks, and they just took it away from them. They just took it away from them. It took 2 weeks to decipher on film how to stop the Saints, and they never looked the same after that. That's why that happened. They broke it down, took it away from them, and say, okay, now do something else, and that dude couldn't do nothing. But keep on overusing Taysom, keep overusing this kind of guy. Didn't know how to spread the offense around. I'm like, how is this guy still? And then just ignorant, people, they've literally broken you down. Decide, do something else. And the point was he couldn't. All he could do, if he didn't have his first team, would just overuse whoever's left on the first team to do whatever he needed to do. And that's what we seen. The offensive line coach, John Benton, could not maintain the same accountability and the stuff they preached in the preseason during the season. You see, it was an obvious drop off. Some of those guys did not even look like they even practiced, even though they were practicing. You can't tell me that them people was in false start and the Saints was sloppy, false starts, and all this kind of stuff. We can't have that. Guys guessing at the snap. It's guessing at the snap. We can't have that. We gotta have to win games in the NFL. You can't shoot. Number one rule of winning in the NFL: don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't make mistakes that hurt you. Let them be as disciplined as you can. Be on your game and allow your opponent to make mistakes and capitalize off their mistakes. It can't be the opposite way if we're talking about winning that many games. We can't be shooting ourselves in the foot here. It has to start at the offense. It got to start on the lines. The Saints have to have better line play for it to have sustained success. Because I do think the Saints have more than enough weapons from a running back standpoint. Be they Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, whomever. They have enough. And Taysom, you won't count Taysom because Taysom won't be ready till way late, if any. But we have enough people to be able to do something with the running attack. So that's something we have to pay attention to. But this schedule, fam, look at it. It is very agreeable. All right. What's up, Joseph? How you doing, sir? Shout out to you. What's up, Jack? Shout out to you. Says roster still paper thin. Indeed. I still need some more offensive lineman help. I know they signed the kid the other day. What's his name? Peoples. I know they talked to Ashantae Samuel. You know, they trying to, Coach Staley trying to add Ashantae Samuel Jr., who they talked to the other day. You know, I know that's something that they was looking at doing. You know, they brought him in for a look. You know, so, but there are a few things the Saints are, you know, they're trying to do to try to improve. I know they signed the undrafted quarterback who got caught betting on himself. You know, they brought him in here. I don't see him as a person that's going to make a big difference in terms of the season. I just don't see that happening. I think him more as a practice squad quarterback. He's interesting. You know, maybe something down the line perhaps, but, you know, our focus is morely on these other guys and what they can do to be better. But, man, listen, it's going to be interesting to see because, like I said, this is not a completed product, and I don't want people to understand, like, we taking this into the season right now. There's still some moves that the team has to make. There's still some moves the Saints have to make leading into the mini camps and the preseason and all this kind of stuff. There's still several moves the team could make to kind of make things a lot easier on themselves going forward, like in terms of adding talent to the team, that sort of thing, offensive wise and this kind of thing. Now, we know they did sign some, you know, they signed a wide receiver to come in, the guy from Cleveland, Donovan People-Jones, we know about him. The Saints picking him up. Now, I actually like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I actually like him. I think he's a good wide receiver. He's not exactly Keenan Allen, but he's a young wide receiver that had some good. He had a really good year, I think, in his third season with the Browns. He had like 60-something catches. He also has a special team component about him. So and that's something the Saints are looking for. We know Dante Pettis and Velus Jones Jr. outside of Rashid Shaheed is looked at as return man. But if Donovan Peoples-Jones can come on and help them in that capacity, he might be able to stick and stay. Plus, he has good size for a wide receiver. He's physical. He has decent speed. So, I mean, those are interesting. They don't knock your socks off, if you know what I mean, in terms of if you're looking for talent to add to the team. But it's still very much a lot of things that need to happen for the Saints in terms of their offensive line. I still say they need some more vet help there. All right. Montreal says probably going to surprise everyone this year because everyone been talking bad about them. That's another thing. Use that as motivation, right? To galvanize you. Brother Akeem also adds, we have an aging roster, especially defensively. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, these guys here. Yeah, indeed. Each one of these men are on their final contracts for this year. How much more do they have? Can they all put it together for a solid year? Even though I don't think Cam, I'm just going to be honest, I don't think Cam should be starting. I think you have to look at these other guys. I think Brian Bresee and Brockter and what's his name? What's the man name? What's his name? I forgot the man name. The young offensive lineman that we just picked up with the 3rd overall pick. His name escapes me right now, but it'll come to me. What's his name? What's the man name? Y'all help me out in the chat. It's going to mess with me. I can't remember his name. It just skipped my mind. I had it. But put it in the chat, fam. Y'all know. Yeah, Broughton. There you go. Broughton. I just had it and I just lost it right here. But thank you. Yeah, Broughton. I think he should be a guy that should be on the other side because they're 300-pounders. They're incredibly violent insofar as how they move. They're difficult to block. They're used to double teams. And if you have Brockton and Bresee on B&B on both sides of that line, I think that's the kind of 3-4 end you need. I don't think Cam should be there. I think Cam should be a reserve player. If anything, you bring him off the bench after those two guys. I don't think he should be there starting for you at that position in that 3-4 unit. I think he should be a reserve. Then over the last 2 years, his numbers has dropped dramatically because of his age. He has not been as effective as he was 3 seasons ago. He actually had respectable sack numbers, not so much over the last couple of years. I think he had like 6 sacks over the last 2 years. So I don't think he should be the guy. But if you're talking about major question marks of which area of the team you're more concerned with, I wouldn't say so much as the defense as I would say with the offense, because the offense has a young player at a critical position, right, at the quarterback position. You got to have a lot of stuff around him to protect him. You got to have the safety blanket tight end. Can Jawan Johnson, this is a question for the diehards, can Jawan Johnson, who got paid that contract, a lot of people, including myself, thought the Saints wouldn't. They would go with somebody else, but they elected to keep Jawan Johnson, right? Can Jawan Johnson can he live up to that money? Can he become a top 12 tight end in the game? He simply has the physical tools, but does he have the mental to go along with the physical to become one of those top guys? I like Jawan Johnson, but I don't know if I see the temperament to be one of the greatest tight ends in the NFL. I don't know if he ever said that. I listened to a lot of his interviews. I don't remember him saying, I want to be the best tight end in the NFL. I never heard him say that. He got more of a laid back, I ain't gonna say lazy demeanor, but he got more of a laid back approach. Like when they was talking to him about him after he got paid, he made the mention, we just want to have fun. Let's just have some fun. Nah, you win and you're going to have fun. Don't separate having fun from win, because if you're losing, you're not going to be having fun. So let's link winning and having fun together. So just win. So I want to see Jawan Johnson become a top 10, top 12 tight end in this year NFL. Do anybody see him as a top 10 or 12 tight end in the game? Because if you have a young quarterback, the first thing you need outside of a really stiff running attack is a safety blanket tight end. is that Juwan Johnson, who I've seen make fantastic catches but drop the easy ones because of concentration, having concentration drops. Is that what we're going to see next year? What kind of Juwan Johnson is this going to have for this new quarterback or the second-year quarterback? Depends, right? Do the Saints offensive line have enough to become a top 10 unit to run the ball? Because that's what you're going to need. You're going to need to have a mean running attack to take the pressure off the quarterback so you can play action. Is that what we are here? And, of course, the wide receivers. Do we have the correct wide receiver? I mean, we do have Rashid. We have Chris Olave. The Saints committed to these guys. They have Brandon Cooks, who's here. They got a lot of speed everywhere. I ain't going to lie to you. The Saints got a bunch of track people running around out here. But in terms of physicality, that might be another question. Who steps forward from the wide receiver room as the big physical wide receiver to balance the room? Or is that guy on the team? Are we still waiting to see who that person is? So it's a few things going on here. So, like I said, I pivot to the offense because, in my opinion, I think the defense will be fine. I think the defense has the players to transition to a 34 from a 43. The question I have is, or rather wanting to see how the Saints offense looks. We need more help on the offensive line from the backup standpoint. Who's the big physical wide receiver? Can Juwan Johnson step up? Can this running back room run in a way where it can balance the floor for the passing attack? Those are questions, right? Mad Drummer says, Q, who do you think will be a breakout rookie or second-year player? I say Foskey. How do you say Foskey? You think Foskey will get out right? Currently, Foskey is listed as a backup. That's unofficial, but he is listed as a linebacker. I think they have him on the unofficial depth chart ranked behind Chase Young. So they converted Foskey to a linebacker. Can he step up and play outside linebacker? We'll see. I don't know. I don't know so much is it Foskey. I think Foskey, and it's going into his third year. I mean, he's a second-round pick. At some point, you will want to see if the Saints have a place for Isaiah Foskey. He's I don't know how. I don't know if it's Foskey, but a breakout rookie, to me, more than likely, probably going to be Kevin Banks Jr., a guy like that. Guy that gives a lot of reps because he's made for what they're going to do. A breakout rookie. I mean, we'll see what they got going on with Brockton. Brockton's a big question mark, like probably the biggest question mark at the draft. Not so much in terms of like the Tyler thing, like why would you pick Tyler? I understand that part of it. Like surprise pick for some people. But Brockton was a guy a lot of people thought would have went a little later. But he's a guy that will be probably like an X factor. Like, what is he going to bring? Could he be that other end that we need Staley's defense to represent? He'll be interesting. The battle that could be, and this depends on if the Saints go after Asante Samuel Jr., because this could shift all this around between Ugo Amadi and Quincy Riley. What does that look like? Stutzman could be in play too based on injuries to either Demario Davis or Pete Werner. Stutzman's lined up there. So, we'll see how it looks if it's fortunate, but he could be a player in this thing. So, like I said, there's a couple of people you can look at from a rookie standpoint. And I don't know if Isaiah Foskey in the breakout year because, like I said, I don't think Foskey is getting any real time to do anything. He's just buried again. And so it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's Foskey, though, but thank you, Mad Drummer. English says 10-7 opener at home is setting up as a springboard. Mickey will use up all the gum in the city, beating us over the head with it. 10-7. Okay, thank you, brother. All right. Brother Hakeem also says Banks at left tackle and Fuaga goes to his natural. I agree with that. When I heard that, Brother Hakeem, I agree with that wholeheartedly. He says position Ruiz at right guard. He says Amboy at center. Rundits at left guard. The Saints should entertain trading Penning because they won't re-sign him in 2026. I agree with you. They're trying to figure out how they can get all of the first-round draft picks on the field at the same, even though McCoy is not that, but they're trying to figure out a way to get the remaining picks on the field at the same time to maximize the group. So I can understand why the talking point was, do we play him at left guard? That might be a issue, or might be not an issue rather, but could be a thought process if you didn't have a Dylan Runnels and you still had an option there. But they did bring Runnels in to compete with Nick Saldiveri at left guard. So it's a battle between Penning and Kevin James. I mean, with Kevin Banks. I'm sorry, Kevin Banks Jr. But that's the thing. You know, we have to figure that out, which it resets itself because you got a new coach, new offensive line. They want to see if the guy can compete. And he's in his 4th year. So if Trevor Penning, listen to this here, even though we know Penning didn't play a lot the first week, one game his first year, 6 on his 2nd year, and he started all of the 3rd year, that's still 3. He still has a lot more games than Kevin Banks Jr. does. So if you put and really it wouldn't really be Penning and Banks Jr. going at it. If they moved him around, if left tackle is the position, then that's Kevin Banks outright, straight up. Penning won't compete over there ever. If it's right tackle, it's between Tolly and Penning, and that's a wrap right there. So he'll be relegated as a reserve. And more than likely he'll be gone at the end of the year. You know, and this will be his last year here. They already turned down his 5th-year option. And that's how it goes. You know, that's how it goes. It'll be another, I won't say nothing bad about him now, but it could possibly be another bad first-round draft pick that the Saints didn't develop. And there's no knock on Penning. It's just the Saints did not develop this guy correctly. They waited way too long to get him in there, and when he struggled, they benched him for the remaining part of the season, actively, mind you, by screwing her. And I was saying this the whole damn time when they did that to Penning. I told them, do not put him at the left tackle position. We had supposed pros out here telling us that, oh, he'll do fine there. He can play fine. I remember all of them. Oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I remember the guy got up there and talked about the tackle positions being interchangeable. It don't matter. Oh, they're interchangeables. It don't matter about left. Remember Dennis Allen said it. John Benton, the offensive line coach, said, and I said, what? It don't matter who the tackles are. They're interchangeable. He said about the tackle position, the tackles protecting the quarterback left and right. I said, no. There's a difference between a blindside tackle and a non-blindside tackle, a right tackle. You know, if the guy's right-handed, vice versa, if he's left-handed. But if you got a right-handed quarterback, the blindside tackle on the left side, them guys make big money protecting the quarterback blindside. They make big money. We all know from a football standpoint, the blindside tackle is a very respected position, just like the center is. He got a real important job. The quarterback has to literally trust that guy because he can't see back there unless he turns and looks. He can see what's going on here and looking at the right side, but he has to, trust this guy on his left. And they was playing it all down, and then Penning gets destroyed. In the 2nd year, they bench him. People ridicule him. And I was like, man, that's the Saints' fault for doing that to that kid. They did that. They did not want to move Ramczyk off the right tackle position. And this is before they start telling you the truth about what was wrong with his knee. They were saying that he had some knee issues, but they was downplaying it. You didn't realize how bad it was until the following year. They knew about Penning's, Penning. They knew about Ramczyk's knee for a while. And it was a messed up situation. Because they should have pulled the plug on Ramczyk a long time ago and looked at the medicals and said, man, we got to keep it real. We can't put you through this. We got to protect you from this. And ultimately what happened is what we called it was going to happen. They played around, didn't have any foresight, no nothing. And really did. Because Ramczyk couldn't develop into himself because he had that low extremity injury. That knee issue was very bad. And then you had a young player playing out of position to something that he couldn't possibly live up to. It destroyed his confidence. He talked about that, how it destroyed his confidence. And you can see an obvious difference if you watch film of him in college and when he first got here, how he was playing versus what happened to him in that 2nd year. And I was saying, don't put that guy over there. All these supposed pros were saying, oh, he'll be fine over there. Then he gets destroyed. Then they jump on the bandwagon and destroy the man too. But I was saying that's the Saints' fault. In particular, it was Dennis Allen's fault. Just like what's happening to Isaiah Foskey right now. Foskey is a second-round draft pick defensive lineman who more than likely will not see the field unless injuries occur. And that's not usually the case. If you got a second-round pick, this guy usually has to come in and he has to start. Saints don't have a place for the man. New regime comes in and it's a previous player. They don't have any loyalty to those guys that's trying to develop. They bringing in their own guys. You seen what this guy do. Kellen Moore did. He brought in all these other guys, all on top of Isaiah Foskey. Pause. You look at the unofficial depth chart, you can see the guys that they brought in. Now, whether these guys will stick and stay with the Saints, that's all to be determined. But the truth of the matter is that these guys are here in confab with the man. So, like, you look at, like, let me show you the hit right here. It is right here. Take a look at this. Thank you, Brother Hakeem. This is what I'm saying about Isaiah Foskey. Foskey's mentioned here. This is unofficial. But you do have other guys that they're bringing in there. So Foskey now becomes a linebacker in the 34 defense. System change, things change. But you see where he's positioned. This is unofficial, but close to accurate as you can get. It does look like it makes a lot of sense with some of these moves. But see where Foskey's positioned at. Jonah Williams was a guy that Brandon Staley picked to come in and play. He's familiar with that style of offense. Not saying Foskey can't do it, but was a second-round draft pick as itself. He's positioned back with DeMarco Jackson in the third layer of it, and DeMarco's like a fifth-round pick. Nephi's undrafted, and some of these other guys, Stallbird's undrafted, Powell's undrafted. Chris Rumpf is a veteran that they had that was also with the Rams that he's familiar with. So he has some competition to kind of step in there and kind of reestablish, I guess, not reestablish, but basically learn how to some kind of way get some kind of reps. So how is he supposed to? And then the starter is, according to that, is Chase Young. So like I said, it gets really murky and tough, man, what happens with some of these guys. So, because like I said, a lot of them are not, they're not loyal to some of these guys. Just the ones that they picked that they're connected to. That'd be a different thing if Penning was a force like what he was supposed to be. Then there would be no need to have Kevin Banks Jr. there. You're not going to pick him for depth. That guy's going to start somewhere. I'm thinking that tackle, which is where you want to go. It's still the new regime might have questions on Penning moving forward. Right? Slim, what's up? Slim says, I see we play the Bears. Dennis Allen will want revenge, a.k.a. the Possum. That's right. B Flat says, Caesar will be the first to give up a sack this season. Caesar salad, baby. All right. Bobby says, Q, I have a feeling Kellen is going to put his draft picks on the field just because of the organization he came from. Oh, you could very well. We'll see, bro. All right. Ricky says 5-12. All right. With an upside of 8-9. Thank you, Ricky. Shout out to you. All right. Hakeem says Sam Jones coming off that neck surgery. That's a huge gamble if they're thinking of signing him. Isaac Gidham did sign for 3 years, $9 million. He might start opposite of Kool-Aid. Could be. I mean, you have still have Alontae Taylor there now. You have Alontae Taylor, the 3 top cornerbacks listed for the Saints, unofficially that is Alontae Taylor, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Hugo Amadi. Hugo Amadi at the nickel position. Now Quincy Riley's in competition with him. They might have more of a Yidam as a backup somewhere else, but we'll see how they all roll it out. They tried to get some other guys at the cornerback position, but if Asante Samuel is here, and you're right, the situation kind of reminds me of what the Saints might want to take a gamble on Asante Samuel Jr. because of his familiarity with Staley. Staley knows him. He likes his temperament. He's an undersized guy, but he's extremely aggressive, heady, like that temperament. And the fact that the Saints did have a situation, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but remember when they signed Chase Young, he was dealing with a neck issue. Can the Saints strike gold twice? They did that with Chase Young, right? Remember that? I guess it's too much to ask for if they could strike gold twice, right? He says, Q, why is Ashanti Samuel Jr. still on the market? He is dealing with a neck injury. That's what's keeping him there. Giovanni says, I hope during the OTAs and during the regular season, they put a huge emphasis on preventing soft tissue injuries. Thank you, bro.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Thank you, Giovanni. Yes, so one can only want him to do that, fam. We've been talking about that for a long time. I just don't know. It's still a lot to be talked about. Maybe they do something with this injury situation. You can't keep ignoring it. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see what they do. It's still very early on, but I haven't heard anything up until this point. All right. Yeah, Rising. What's up, Rising? Says, Q, I think Penning got a raw. He did, bro. He did get a raw deal. He did. That's what I was saying. He should never been a blind side. And that's what I was saying. The experts, whoever they, y'all know who y'all were, was out here saying Penning could play the blind. I was telling you, I was reading it in the articles they were saying, and I was talking against it. The whole time I said this guy should never be a blind side tackle. Should never be. He just didn't. I seen it. And I said, if you want him playing at right tackle, move Ryan Ramczak's overpaid ass over there. Let him play the left, but they did not move him. And I said, why are they keeping him at that right tackle position? The Saints was trying to protect Ramczyk. Then you find out a couple years later why. They did not want to move him. So you mean to tell me that you won't move that overpaid veteran over there for whatever? Why didn't? That's the question. The question is, it's not why Penning failed. He was a young player who was trying to learn that position. Why would you put him there as opposed to the veteran? That's what I was saying. Hold on. No, don't put Penning over there. Put Ramczyk over there. Put Ram over there. And they did not want to do it. Now you know why. Not only did they lose Ramczyk, but Penning, it stalled the hell out of Penning's development. It really did. He's trying to learn multiple positions. And then I hear people say, kick him to guard. Q, how are you going to play guard? He's not going to learn guard well enough to beat Nick Saldiveri or Dylan Runnels. His best opportunity now, and if you're talking about competing with anybody, it won't be Kevin Banks. If they shift Banks to the left tackle position, that's his alone. And he damn sure ain't beating Tali Fuaga for the right tackle position. He would just become a reserve until his contract runs out. They gave him a raw deal, but you won't ever hear that from the people. It's just easily to mess over the player. They did him wrong. They did him wrong. What's up, Toy? Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Much love. Brother Reginald says, OG Jerry, who that? Shout out to OG Jerry and Reginald. Brother, big ups to you. Yeah, Hakeem, you're right. Jonah Williams is a sneaky good pickup. He is. I was watching tape of Jonah Williams, man. Watch out for that man. And that dude is ahead of the depth chart on a guy like Isaiah Foskey, who that guy knows the system. All right, Montreal says we got 115 days left. He says left real game start before the real game. Okay, I got you. What's up, Randy? Shout out to you, Randy. All right, he says Hakeem says Lonte didn't do well on I think he moves back into the slot cornerback position. We'll see, bro. We'll see. You feel comfortable having Isaac Yiadom there as opposed to having Alontae Taylor there? And like I said, Alontae Taylor at first started off really well. He was doing this thing here, what he's doing with his fingers and all that kind of stuff. And that was pretty cool, but he struggled. He did struggle. But I still like Alontae Taylor. We'll see if he can get it figured out, man, moving the season. But I don't know. I like Isaac Yiadom, but more in a reserve capacity. I know the Saints paid him, that cake, but if they felt that way, why are you looking at Ashanti Samuel if you felt like Isaac Yiadom was the guy, Because if anything, if you sign Ashanti Samuel, you think he's going to be a reserve? No, Ashanti Samuel's going to start somewhere. He's going to start somewhere. He's going to start somewhere. And I think the top three cornerbacks, if and when they do sign Ashanti Samuel Jr., would it be Ashanti Samuel Jr.? There's no priority, but Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alontae Taylor, and Ashanti Samuel Jr. Those will be the three guys that'll be your starting cornerbacks. And Isaac Yiadom will be your dime back. He will be the dime guy, however they situated. All right, yeah. He said Jonah Williams is in. He says is a DN. No, he's set up as a linebacker, bro. They got him set up as a linebacker in the 34 system. And like I said, all Brandon Staley was doing was just he reached out to guys that he's familiar with. He's familiar with Williams. He knows he has a high motor. The guy never fights. He got good, decent speed, and he's strong. So he has a never say die mentality, and that's what Ashanti Samuel Jr. has. These are guys that the man has some familiarity with building this defense, having that temperament. So that's why I was kind of lending myself, and I was saying to you, like looking at it and saying, man, this guy's picking up players that he's familiar with, and you look at these players and you do research on them, they have a same never say die, aggressive, mean temperament. You know, is that the same thing you say about the offense? What is the offense? I say the offense has more questions than our defense. We'll love to see how these practices look too, once everybody's together. A lot of this will be defense kicking at offense's butt. It's gonna be interesting. All right, Pammy. Shout out to Pammy. Good to see you in the stream. Pammy Whammy, baby. Much love, member for 33 months. Thank you.
I wanna say thank you very much for picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right, so once again, Who Dat Nation, we have the schedule is released for the Saints today. That's the main point to talk about here. And prediction of wins and losses in the chat. You guys, some of the family members put in their suggestions on what they think this is, but fam, listen. I mean, I don't know if I said this before in different games, but this is probably one of the easiest, from a perspective of some of these teams we got to play coming into this thing, just to be honest with you. Very, very interesting schedule for the Saints. Very feasible. The first matchup, you got the Arizona team. This is their current roster right now. Kyler Murray's there. James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch. And this is some of the players that you see. This is their current roster right now going into it. James Conner and Trey Benson, that's a good little combination right there, the Terminator. And then, of course, you look at the defense. They got Josh Sweat over there. A few other components. Well, Buda Baker's been good for him. They had former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sean Murphy Bunting. Added that to the, so like I said, Delvin Tomlinson at the tackle position. So this is some of the teams you're playing. And like I said, Blake Gillikin is their punter too. Remember Blake? He's over there with the Cardinals now. Blake Gillikin was a good punter for us, man. So these are some of these people here, as you can see right here, going forward for who we'll face in week number 1. Now, this is going to change. They might add some people, but this is some of their squad. But I do see this as a victory for the Saints. Now, if you look at the 49ers side of things, San Francisco 49ers to me is a little different. We know they didn't do too well last year, and they lost some really interesting players, and they could be looked upon as a question mark. But this is also a very winnable game for the Saints too, because Brock Purdy, you have that Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk is still there, Juwan Jennings. So they still have some interesting players. Kittles, they brought back Juszczyk, and their offensive line is decent as well. But I don't see the 49ers being a team that stays bad for long like they did. They got Nick Bosa still there, Fred Warner. These guys, as a football team, now they did lose some talent up front on that defensive line, but at the same time, you never want to overlook the San Francisco 49ers. So this is a bit of their depth chart here. The next Seattle club up in week number 3 is Seattle. And like I said, I'm just showing you guys what their teams basically look like right now for some of the family members who probably haven't been keeping up with some of this stuff. And as you look at the 49ers team, Sam Darnold is their guy. Drew Lock, Jalen Milrose, the quarterback, Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet is the running backs. You see Jackson Smith's there. Cooper Kupp signed with them. MVS is there. Noah Fant, the former Bronco, is there. They have a line where they had to kind of build up the offensive line. It's very interesting defensively speaking. You can see some players there. You can see Jonathan Hankins, DeMarcus Lawrence, a few other people there. So you can look at the team and see Seattle is also situation. We have to see how it goes. I think this is a winnable matchup too. But once again, like I said, it all depends because you have to go to Seattle to get it. And then, of course, you look at the Buffalo Bills, and remember, Clint Kubiak runs the offense for Seattle also, by the way, fam, which I'm not really, big on, but we'll see how it goes. And this is Buffalo's squad. We know how good they are. They've been good for a while. James Cook, Josh Allen, the quarterback, James Cook. You see a bunch of these other really good players, and they've just been a strong team over the last several years. They played really tough, and they've been up there the last couple of years playing some good football. And like they said, they showed them finishing first in the AFC East last year. And we know Buffalo is going to be difficult. Plus, that's a game that's in Bill land. So we don't often get a lot of those games when we see them go to Buffalo, but they are there. Next game against the Giants, right? We got the Giants coming in. So Giants have been a struggle hat. 4th in the NFC East last year. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart are the quarterbacks. Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Devin Singletary. They also have Cam Scatterbo at the running back there. Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Wandale Robinson, and a few others. Theo Johnson. It's a good pickup by them. Their offensive line is they were trying to improve that. And then you go on the defensive side of it. They still have some good players on that defensive side. You look at Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, the first-round pick. They added Paulson Adebo there as well. Deontay Banks is interesting. So they did add some talent, but people still see the Giants as a team that is still beatable. Very beatable. And, of course, you go to the New England Patriots side of things and see what the Patriots got going on with New England, with Drake May and what he got going on there with the team. He'll be running the team, Drake May. Ramondre Stevenson, really good running back. Stephon Diggs is with them. And then, like I said, Hunter Henry and a few other pieces. But like I said, these teams are not good. They finished 4th in the AFC East last year. And like I said, they have a new head coach there. This is Matt Vrabel stepping in and taking over the team. So you expect some of these teams that were in the top 10 drafting to be, you should be able to have some type of success against these teams, right? Should have some type of success against these teams. We shall see. Beating the Giants and the Patriots is definitely something that I could see the Saints doing, man, unless, the only question outside of that is their worse better than our worst, if you get what I'm saying, if you catch my drift. And then, of course, the next matchup will be the Chicago Bears. This is one of the games, like I was telling you, it's a 50-50 matchup. This is a team that also finished 4th in the NFC North. You notice the theme, fam? We facing a lot of teams that finished 4th in their division. So we know it's not always an accurate assessment to base it upon what it was last year, because the team have new coaches, they have new players, and that makes things look a bit different. I think Chicago could be in that group of people where you see improvement from Chicago. New coach, this is the offensive coordinator that comes over from the Detroit Lions. He takes over there. He knows Caleb Williams is a good quarterback. He got to toughen him up a little bit. He got decent running attack. DJ Moore, they had Romeo Odunze. Luther Birdham III, who's a fantastic speedster to go along with the rest of these guys. They're looking about improving the offensive line, getting the defense after. So his biggest thing will be taking Chicago offense and making it consistent. Can he do that? That will be an interesting part of that. And, of course, that's an away game when we go to the Bears on October the 19th. Then, of course, we go to Tampa. We got the Tampa Bay matchup that is next. And we know what Tampa Bay is going to be bringing. They added a few pieces to their team as well to keep things going. And they're just playing behind Baker Mayfield. Bucky Irvin, Rashad White still there, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. And they got a Mecca who joins the fray right there. So you bring him in there to add another big wide receiver there. You remember Jalen McMillan was the one that killed the Saints last year. I remember Jalen McMillan, the wide receiver, boy, he was putting some pain on the Saints last year. But they have a decent offensive line. They they keep it in place. The defense was getting old, but they still have some good players on that defense. Kalaja Cansey, Vita Vey, Yaya Diaby, Levante David is still there, you know. In the back of the secondary, Anton Winfield Jr. was good. And they're thinking about just improving and doing their thing there. So Tampa Bay, 4 years running NFC South champion. We got to stop that, man. We got to bring a stoppage to that as soon as possible. And of course, then we pivot to the Los Angeles Rams, right? The Rams led by Matt Stafford. Some people, you know, he's very getting up there in age, but he's still effective in the system. Kyron Williams is an excellent running back. Blake Corum is interesting. They got Puka. Devontae Adams is over there. Tutu Atwell, so they still have some quality people. Tyler Higbee is the tight end. Their offensive line is decent, and this still is a Ram team who put a lot of talent on the defensive side. Braden Fisk was a good move there to bring to the squad. They added Ty Hamilton through the draft. Omar Spates is another guy. Chris Paul Jr., I like him out of college. They kind of helped them. Jared Verse is another guy just going to do a lot of great stuff for them. So they've done some positive things defensively to stay true to their identity, and they still have some good talent offensive-wise. The question's always been keeping Matt Stafford healthy. That's why they got Jimmy Garoppolo there. Just in case injuries hit them, Garoppolo could step in for the interim. And, of course, we move forward and we look at the Carolina Panthers, just doing a little familiarization with them for some of the family members that might not know. Carolina squad, Bryce Young is there. Chupa Hubbard, they brought in Rico Dardell. Trevor Etienne is the backup. They got Ted McMillan there, family. Ted McMillan along with Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette. That is a pretty decent trio of wide receivers. Not to mention Jalen Coker, who's a good young wide receiver as well. They also ordered and picked up and signed Hunter Renfrow. So they have Hunter Renfrow there as well. Tommy Tremble is the tight end, but I like Jatavion Sanders as well. And then their line, they spent a lot of money on their line. We know about Icky and Taylor Mouton, but you're looking at guys like Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt, Corbett in the middle. They spent some money on those guards last year, and Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. And to improve the running attack and the protection of Bryce Young. This is his third year, and a lot of people believe this will be a very good year for him. The team spent money defensively, picking up and trying to get pass rush help. They, added some people there. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes and moves throughout the division. But like I said, expect a very competitive NFC South. That's what I'm looking at, man. That's what I'm looking at. Of course, let's move to the Falcons. Let's talk about Lowe's Falcon team, his Falcon squad here. And, of course, we know that the Falcons finished second in the NFC South. Michael Penix Jr. takes over that. They still have Kirk Cousins as a backup. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algieri has been a very difficult tandem. London Mooney, who's really good, like Darnell Mooney, the former Tulane product. Ray McLeod, the third, who's a speedster. They got Kyle Pitts there. The offensive line is decent. Defensively, that's where they put a lot of their bones to it. David Onyemata still's there. They added a lot of talent in an attempt to get better at the pass rush level. We know Caden Ellis did a lot of good stuff for them. They added James Pierce Jr., Jelon Walker, along with the defense, the secondary. They're looking to try to improve. They know they still have Jesse Bates there. They added Xavier Watts to step in there with A.J. Terrell and D. Alford, Mike Hughes, and those guys. So they're feeling like they've done enough to improve the team in an attempt to move out of second place in an attempt to win the NFC South. So that is something that Atlanta is attempting to do. So they did some decent stuff there. It's just, as you know, Atlanta just finds a way to trip over their own feet. All right, let's move on to the Miami Dolphins, fam. I think that's the other team as we get down the rest of this stuff here, looking at their teams and see where they are. But this is the Dolphins depth chart right now. You see Tua's there. He's always some kind of way dealing with injuries. We'll see where he is because we don't see these people until later on in the year. We'll get to see them in week 13. So, can Tua be there? We don't know. Zach Wilson, the former Jet quarterback, is there with Quinn Ewers. And then you see their lineup with Tyreek Hill. He's a question mark. Jalen Waddell is just ridiculous. Awesome. And then they have some other players. Like I said, they're an interesting team, man, at times, and an enigma. They got some interesting players all across the board, and whatever they do. They finished second in the AFC East last year. But the question mark around Miami is the quarterback in health. You know, if he can stay healthy, he might be able to do something for Miami. We'll just pay attention to it, right? That's all we can do. And, of course, as we shift back, we go to the Jets. The Jets is the next team, and I think with the New York Jets, we know Coach Aaron Glenn that was with the Saints. He is now the head coach of the Jets. Justin Fields is his quarterback. Breece Hall, fantastic running back. Garrett Wilson, fantastic wide receiver. They also have veteran Allen Lazard there. They got a few players that could really step up and help them offensively speaking. They drafted Mason Taylor from LSU. He's their tight end. So Justin Fields has a safety blanket in Jason Taylor, a good running back in Breece Hall, an excellent wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. And then, of course, they even done some stuff to try to improve the offensive line. The defense, they added a few pieces to the defense as well in an attempt to elevate the team. So Coach Glenn's position is, you know, they got Justin Fields. Can Justin Fields capitalize off what he did last year and improve as he get an opportunity to become a starter? He signed a 2-year contract with the Jets. So we'll see what if Coach Glenn could make this team relevant. Like I said, they finished third in the AFC East last year. So this is a little bit going on with Coach Glenn and his squad. It'll be interesting to see how that works. And then, of course, finally, the Tennessee Titans is the last team that we'll end up probably seeing as well. And this is a team that has Cam Ward. Now, this is another team that finished last in their division. They're fourth in the NFC South. The Saints play a lot of teams that finish last in their divisions. That's why the speculation is they should do well because it's a lot of moving parts, usually new coaches, rookie players at positions where you can capitalize off. We'll see the Tennessee Titans in week 17 in their building in the cold later on this year, in December the 28th. That's when we'll see them. Cam Ward, the first overall draft pick, he's over the team. Tony Pollard's there with Tajay Spears. Kelvin Ridley's there. He's their best wide receiver. Tyler Lockett comes there, and he's a steady in first. Treylon Burks still trying to figure out what he can be. They added Alec Ayo Minor to the team as well. So it'll be a matter of time before he step in there, man. Treylon Burks better step it up. And, of course, you see Gunnar Helm was added to the tight end position. Their offensive line needed some help. They did it there. They still have some moves to make. They made some moves on the defensive side of the ball to try to improve. So, like I said, this will be a team that still's trying to climb. A lot of people see them with some parts and pieces, but can they make the leap? Can they make the jump? Well, we'll see, man. Hopefully not against the Saints. Saints got some business to take care of against them. And that's all the teams in their picks and all their depth charts, rather, for the family members who probably want to know, you know, what the hell these teams look like, you know. That's probably where they are. All right. Shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all being in the building as well. What's up, Scoop? Shout out to my brother Scoop. What it do, pimpin'? Shout out to brother Scoop. He says, with any luck, we can competitively, he says, with any luck, we are competitively losing games. No moral victories, but hard-fought losses will suffice. Indeed, bro. Indeed. Well said. Win the Kellen proven games and lose enough for a high lottery slot. All right, so be competitive enough in the losses. Don't get, just be, lose by a point or two, right? The last play, they just wanted it more. But you never can tell. That's the thing. Like a lot of these teams are bad. That's why they got all these players. Tennessee got Cam Ward. They was the worst team in the NFL. We got them on the schedule. We got the Jets. They were bad. The Giants were bad. The Cardinals were bad. The 49ers were bad. The Patriots were bad. We had a lot of bad teams on the roster. That don't necessarily mean they're going to be bad this year. Some of these teams, a couple of them might be respectable, but you can never lay it down. Every time you got to watch out, man. You got to make sure you handle the business, man, because at any given Sunday, you can be beat. 504 Coach says, Q, why can't the Saints put together a wide receiver core that will allow me to sleep well at night? Still don't think we have enough pure talent in the room. Yeah, let's put them on screen. Let's take a look at that because I think that's the point a contention with a lot of the Who Dats, man. They're looking at the wide receiver position and saying, hey, man, do we have enough here? How is this looking? You know, let's take a look at it. Because as you can see, the wide receiver position, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Brandon Cooks, your top wide receivers according to the unofficial depth chart. Of course, if you look at the backups, Bub Means, Kevin Austin Jr., Cedric Wilson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Dante Pettis, Mason Tipton, Moochie Dixon, and Chris Tyree are the listed wide receivers. I don't think these are all of the guys, but this is a great deal of them. 3, 6, 9, 11 wide receivers. Now, of course, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, we know what they can do. We were kind of confused about why Brandon Cooks is here. And they see Chris Olave as a possession guy, a big wide. I don't understand that. I'm still confused about that. But the biggest wide receiver you have is what, 6'2" guys? Bub Means, Kevin Austin Jr., Cedric Wilson. These are 6'2", Donovan Peoples-Jones. These are 6'2" guys. So they're making it a point to say, okay, these guys are big and physical enough. Now, they did try out a few. The other wide receiver who was 6'5", they didn't sign him. They signed Peoples-Jones. But that doesn't necessarily mean that will be what it is going into the rest of the season. We don't exactly know that. They could change it up and sign somebody before camp starts. You know, they do that all the time. So, but this is currently right now. What's up, 985? Shout out to you, brother. I see you in there. Shout out to 985 live in the building. All right, yes. English says, who is going to back up McCoy at center? That'd be Will Clapp. Will Clapp is listed as the unofficial backup, as you can see right here. Will Clapp is listed as McCoy's backup right here. And they did that early on. They made sure to get a backup center they trust. Now, Will Clapp is smart. We just need him to learn as many of the progressions as we possibly can, man. That's what we need, right? We need a guy to be a smart center that remember the protections and do what he needs to do. It's a step down in talent, but it is simply what it is right now for the Saints, right? All right. So anyway, fam, that's what it is right now, man. All right, 985 says, check this out, Q. Check out what, bro? What you throwing in the chat? All right. So that's what it is right now. I made my picks, fam. Y'all put it in the comment section of the chat. Y'all agree with me. The Saints schedule is coming out, man. And listen, I'm going to say it again. The Saints schedule, to me, oh, man, listen. With Father Time on top of it, that's old Father Time right there. And the New Orleans Saints schedule, man, listen. This it's got a lot of perceived winnable games here, man. I'm just saying, man. Damn. The bye week is positioned correctly in the middle of the games. There is no cold weather games to be concerned about except for Tennessee in December the 28th that you have to go there and play, but no cold games, bye week position, easy opener against Arizona in the Dome, and then 49ers who probably going to be decent, but you're catching them early. So, I mean, a Seattle team who's still struggling to figure it out, even though we got to go up to Seattle, is still, in the first month of the season that we got to go up there. And then games against Giants, Jets, and Patriots all within the Superdome. I mean, you could thank the schedule makers they blessed the Who Dat Nation with a very appealing schedule, man. Let me just be honest with you. It's just like, hey, man. I mean, come on. They got to do something. They got to motivate their ass. All right, he says, I don't know if you've seen, what's that, bro? Just break it down to me. I don't know what that is, bro. He says he sent me a link somewhere. Just break it down for me in the chat, bro. I don't know what it is, brother. Oh, you talking about the the schedule release video? Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me go ahead and play it for some of the family members that probably didn't see it. Let me go ahead on it and put it up there, the schedule release video the Saints did. Let me go ahead. Give me a second, fam. Let me go ahead on up there. Give me a second. Let me share it with you guys here. Here, the schedule release video. It's actually it's interesting, man. How they did it, man. Y'all put one in the chat if you can hear, man. Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I'd like to share a few comments. This is my first year with the Saints. I know a lot of you are still getting to know me. I'm a pretty laid-back guy. I know how to keep my cool under pressure, and I think it's a really important quality of being a head coach in the NFL. I'd also think it's important to keep a healthy and respectful dynamic with the media, and the members a part of that. So behind me, you'll see my angry translator, Coach Kazi.
How's everybody doing?
He may jump in to help answer and clarify a few questions here. So with that, first question.
Coach, I know you're coming off a Super Bowl victory, but you got a really tough schedule this year. You play at Seattle. That is a difficult place to play a game.
Yeah, of course, we have a lot of respect for the fans up there, and for that program, we look forward to the challenge.
Tough? The entire NFL is tough. So whether it be Seattle's 12th man, the best man, Superman, we are going to prepare ourselves like we do any other team. You know what else is tough? Listening to you talk. Next question.
Coach, you weren't here in 2019 with the no call, but I'm sure you're familiar with the way that the fans feel about the Rams, yeah?
We obviously have a ton of respect for the Rams, and we'll take that on and prepare like every other opponent.
Let me tell you something, Baldy. No, I wasn't here for the no call. Do I understand how the fans feel? I got a feeling. The guy was 10 yards, the ball was 10 yards away before they even tackled the guy. It was blatant. Speaking of no calls, you will not be called on to ask another question. How about that? Next!
Coach, let's take a question from one of our virtual media members, please.
Yep.
Hey, Coach. Jane Slater with the NFL Network. Will your familiarity with your old NFC East rival, the New York Giants, come into play here with the matchup?
We obviously have a ton of respect for the Giants, but it's a different personnel group, different people, so we'll prepare just like we always do.
Let me tell you something, Jane. I don't know if you got the memo, but a whole new division. You want to talk Giants? That was a big, giant, stupid question.
Next!
Any concerns about any of the upgrades that we've seen this offseason in the division?
We obviously have a ton of respect for our NFC South division opponents. I look forward to experiencing those competitions.
Specifically, Coach, with respect to the Falcons?
Respect to the Falcons? Says who? Respect to the Falcons? Are you serious?
He ain't lying.
Don't you ask another question about the Falcons? You understand me? Next.
Colin, going up against the Patriots and the Jets, it looks like both of them are going through a bit of a rebuild. Does it give you guys any type of advantage facing teams in that situation?
Do it look like we got a crystal ball, bro? Asking for all these predictions. Let me guess, you want the Powerball next? Huh? You want the Powerball numbers? Next question. Stupid question. Next question.
Coach, if we could just quickly double back to the NFC South when it comes to the rivalry with...
I know he's about to talk about the Falcons again. You about to ask me about the Falcons again? Shut your mouth.
Rod, I saw your hand. Your hand up before. Do you have a follow-up question?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yes, you are.
Bobby?
Yeah, Coach, give me your assessment on the team's offseason moves, and do you think you did enough to fill the holes, especially with deep playoff teams like the Bills on the schedule?
We feel really good about where we're at.
Let me tell you something, Bobby Abel. I listen to your little radio show. I hear how you talk on there. We ain't having none of that this year. None of it. Put some respect on our name.
Unless there's any more, I want to thank everyone for coming out. Looking forward to the season.
But there are a few more teams on the schedule we didn't get a chance to get to.
And we ain't getting to them.
Come on, man. You said if there are a few more questions.
I don't care. Look, the press conference is over. Y'all lucky we've been up here this long, asking these ridiculous questions. Pack y'all little stuff up and get out my house.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Let's go, Coach. Gotta deal with this.
Look at Bobby Abel. That's somebody grandpa, man. Don't do that to Bobby. Bobby about to get buck on him, man. That's good, man. Shout out to the Saints, man. That's good. That's the kind of stuff we need, man. Bobby Abraham ain't taking no shit. Look at him. All right, shout out to y'all, man. Y'all seen that? That was funny, man. To see that, shout out to the brother, man, that did that. He did a wonderful job for that, man. Much love on that. That was funny, man. That's something different. Saints never did that before. A little levity there. That's different. I can appreciate that. I can really appreciate that, man. All right, so with that being said, fam, we're going to get ready to get on up out of here. Listen, I appreciate all y'all for joining us for this schedule show. I know you guys had a good time today. Do me a service by hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, the share button, sub up, baby. Shout out to you. What's up, Nautilin? Big ups to you. Zandel, I see you, fam. Appreciate you. Sonia, much love to you as well. Acharimo, big ups to you, fam. Be kind. That was good, fam. That was pretty good, man. Bobby Bear face. Bobby Abel wasn't having it. What's up, Jarrell? Shout out to you. All right, fam, listen, let me get on up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all. We be back tomorrow, man, with some more content, man, to cover it, man. Y'all put in the comment section, let me know what y'all draft selections are. I mean, not draft, but y'all picks on the season schedule, wins and losses, why you feel the way you do. Let us know in the comment section below, baby. And with that being said, I'm out of here. Much love. Who that to you? Peace.
Yeah, Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Say they gon' beat them, say who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them, say who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them, say who that?
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right. right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and who that too. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy